Aloha, we are Jordan, Noah, and Mia. Today's presentation topic is hypercompetition in school anime and relating it to real-life Japanese schools. We each chose one school anime that we would like to discuss in this presentation. The anime that I decided to go with is Kakeguri, which takes place in Hyakao Private Academy. This academy bases ranks off of money and how well you can gamble. This hierarchy system is really strict, but this is something we'll discuss later. This story follows the stories of these protagonists. Ryota Suzui, who is a timid boy who chooses to accompany Yumeko throughout her gambles. Yumeko Jabami, a new transfer student who is a compulsive gambler and who seeks to gamble with all of the student council. And Mary Saotome, who is an aggressive gambler who fears failure of being a house pet but has a change of heart later on in the episodes. The ranking system in the school consists of the student council on top of the chain, who upkeep the debt collecting and life punishments. The humans are next, and they are considered normal, and they don't need to pay any money to the school. And the lowest rank being the house pets, who lose in gambles and owe money to the person who won or the school. If you are a house pet, you are not only treated as an animal, but you are given a life schedule where the council decides your whole life after high school. This is similar to Japanese schools, basing the student's life off of their exam scores. As I mentioned, house pets are not treated as normal students. They are bullied relentlessly, not only by one person, but a group of people. House pets are forced to wear the rankings around their necks, clean up after others, and deal with teasing, be leg stools, and even strip naked in front of the humans if they ask them to. As a result of this ijime, students in Kakeguri go to massive extent of showing the student council whatever it takes to make it on top of the chain. To avoid being a house pet any longer. Some examples are Midari stabbing her eye out, or Itsuki ripping off her nails. In spite of all this, we do not see any teachers getting involved in the student gambling or the twisted bullying. It is common in Japan to rather just let the students resolve issues on their own amongst themselves. However, due to student council power, it is hard for the students to just ignore, and they need to obey without any question. This competitive system within their school makes way for students to become frenemies. Although Mary and Yumiko had unsettled business from their first gamble, they decided to team up during the debt settlement party to ensure that another student fell deeper into debt. Almost every student at their academy are frenemies because everyone is competing to be on top. In the end, Ryota was the only true friend that was able to support Yumiko throughout her gambles and interactions with others, and Yumiko helped Ryota out by giving him some money to get out of debt, and even hung out with him to go eat dessert.
Now I'm going to go over Classroom of the Elite. I'm going to go through this. I want to do a little deeper dive and to see what we learned over the course about hyper competition. A little bit about we'll say the environment is the school's name is Advanced Nurturing High School. Essentially, it handpicks and selects the top and the brightest students in Japan. Here we have two of the main protagonists. We have Kiyotaka, Ayano Koji, and Suzune Horikita. Kiyotaka is more of a fly under the radar, but he has a whole bunch of OP skills he's gotten, while Suzune is more of a prodigy and is trying to work hard. In Classroom of the Elite, the classroom life, it can be seen as similar to how Japanese high schools are, and that the fact that everything they do in the classroom and their grades will set them up for their success later down the road. just like how we have in Japanese high schools, they have separate classes, but in this anime, the classes are segregated by essentially how well they did on the entrance exams and their potential. Here I found the term Shingaku Juku. I don't know if that's correct or not, but essentially it's for cram schools and how middle schools and high schools they have students attend these after school classes or study sessions to essentially cram as much knowledge as possible to pass their exams. And because of how important the whole school culture is, that to do good in to get into a good middle school gets you into a good high school, and then getting into a good high school will set you up to get into a good college. They have these special exams every now and then within the school, and one of them in particular essentially placed the top student with the bottom student, and then the second place with the second to last. And essentially, they had to take a test together, and if they didn't pass, they would get expelled. And essentially, another arc that they had, or I thought it was interesting, was that they tested their students on essentially extracurricular activities, like can they do really fast math? Can they? How well is their English? They had a competition on archery and even chess. Classroom of the Elite kind of takes the premise of heavy competition within a school, kind of to the extreme, where any failure on their part can lead to the expulsion, and they continuously get tried and tested in new and different ways.
Name is Mia Maynard. I'll be talking about Assassination Classroom and how hyper competition is represented in it. For a brief, Assassination Classroom is about a group of outcast students assigned to kill their teacher. They are given a certain amount of time before their teacher decides to end the world. I'd also like to give a little trigger warning for the upcoming slides. Hypercompetition, as used online, often is used for companies to create high quality stuff. While in lecture, Dr. J said it is meant to help you make friends that are also rivals. This hypercompetition can also lead to a lot of other stuff like bullying, but also good classroom ethics. Hypercompetition is very evident in Assassination Classroom, as there is competition amongst all the students to kill their teacher, with each other and together. Each student has their own strengths and weaknesses to which they play to kill their sensei. Again, this could be in group settings and individually. One of the biggest questions is, how did they end up here? These students are listed as Class 3E, otherwise known as the class at the end of the line. This is because they were unable to pass exams or keep up with school, so they were brought down to quote-unquote the lowest level. The high school that they attend is known as one of the top schools in the country. They are known as this because of the fate, quote-unquote, that awaits them, as told in episode 2. So if they fail, they are sent to the one place, the school that has, quote-unquote, no kitchen and, quote, looks like a dump. This is setting up hypercompetition in the school itself. The hypercompetition that is set up by the school, there is often bullying happening to Class 3E and within the class. Within the class, you will see students use one another for their own advantages, and outside of the classroom, many of the other classes would bully Class 3E because they are troublemakers. Within Assassination Classroom, you also see the idea of frenemies. Frenemies are friends and rivals which you can compete with to become better. In this show, this is seen through Nagisa and Karma, who were once best friends, but later on become frenemies. Must start off as friends, but once the show goes further on and their own unique talents come to light, Karma sees Nagisa as competition. During a fight in one of the scenes, Nagisa ends up tackling Karma to the ground. But when Karma is finally about to beat him, he quote unquote gives up, seeing how hard Nagisa is trying. Competition in Assassination Classroom is seen everywhere, even outside and inside the classroom. But it's because of this that they see each other as friends. Even though it may start out a little rocky, their relationships further develop throughout the show. Thank you guys so much for watching our presentation.